All right, welcome. Today we're diving into a super powerful feature that honestly you might already have but just aren't using. It's built right into Windows Server, and believe me, it's designed to solve one of the biggest, most expensive headaches in IT, constantly needing more storage space. Oh, you know this warning, we all do. Every single IT admin gets that sinking feeling in their stomach when they see this. You're just starting your day, maybe you've got your coffee, and bam, your main file server is screaming for help. This one little pop-up can totally derail your entire week, right? Suddenly, you're in emergency meetings about the budget and scrambling to order new hardware. And it always leads to this question, doesn't it? That endless, expensive cycle of buying more hard drives, more SANs, year after year. Sother Sol. But what if you could break that cycle? What if the solution was already there, inside your server, just waiting for you to flip a switch? Well, that solution is called data deduplication. So what exactly is this thing? Think of it as a high-tech librarian for all your data. Let's say you have 100 people who've all saved the same big report. Instead of wasting space storing all 100 copies, deduplication is smart enough to keep just one perfect original copy. It then replaces the other 99 with a tiny little digital bookmark that just points back to the original. The amazing part is you free up a ton of space, but for your users, all 100 files are still there and they open instantly. They never know the difference. Now, how it does this is actually pretty elegant and breaks down into four main steps. First, the system takes files and breaks them into small, manageable pieces called chunks. Then, each little chunk is given a unique ID, kind of like a digital fingerprint. After that, the system checks its big index to see, hey, have I seen this fingerprint before? If it's brand new, it stores the chunk. But if it's seen it before, if it's a duplicate, it doesn't store it again. It just creates one of those tiny little reference notes we talked about. It's that library ID in action. The first time a book arrives, it gets a spot on the shelf. Every copy after that just gets a small card in the catalog pointing to the original one. Simple, right? So that's the general concept. But how Windows Server does this? Well, that's what makes it so brilliant and so safe. You see, not all deduplication systems are created equal. And the way Windows does it is specifically designed to have basically zero impact on your users and your live applications. And this slide really shows you the critical difference. Some systems do what's called inline deduplication. This happens the moment data is being written, which sounds good, but it can actually slow down your server's performance. Windows, on the other hand, is smarter. It uses a post-process model. What that means is all your data gets written to the disk at full normal speed. Then later, maybe at night or on the weekend, whenever you schedule it, a background job kicks in and cleans up all the duplicates. The result? Absolutely zero performance hit for your users. So how does Windows pull this off? Well, it's got three main parts to its magic trick. It uses variable size chunking, which is a fancy way of saying if you just change one slide in a huge PowerPoint deck, it only has to save the tiny piece that changed, not the whole file again. All these unique chunks get tucked away safely in a hidden folder called the chunk store. But the real genius, the secret sauce, is something called a reparse point. The original file on your drive gets replaced by this tiny little recipe. When you double-click that file, the reparse point instantly tells Windows, hey, go grab chunk 1, chunk 7, and chunk 22 from the store and put them together. And it does it so fast, you'd never know. To you, it just looks and feels like a normal file. Okay, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds cool, but it must be a nightmare to set up. Honestly, it's the complete opposite. It's incredibly easy. Let's just walk through what an administrator would actually do and what the system then does all by itself. Once you enable it on a volume, Windows takes over with three automated background jobs. First, you've got the optimization job. That's the main workhorse that goes through, finds, and processes all the duplicate data. Then there's garbage collection. Think of this like a janitor. It runs every so often and cleans out any old chunks that are no longer being used by any files, freeing up even more space. And finally, you have integrity scrubbing, which is basically a regular health check to make sure all your data is safe and sound. It is a true set it and forget it system. And to make things even simpler, Microsoft gives you these great pre-built templates. Are you setting this up on a general file server for Word documents and spreadsheets? Just choose that option, and it'll use a nice conservative policy. Or are you running a virtual desktop environment with hundreds of nearly identical Windows installations? Pick the VDI policy, and it gets way more aggressive to give you the absolute maximum space savings. You just tell Windows what the server is for, and it tunes itself. Now, Basek Chiska Dian Rakain, just remember, this works best on files that aren't already heavily compressed or encrypted, because in those cases, there's just not much duplicate data to find. So, we've gone through the how, we've seen how easy it is to set up, but let's talk about the bottom line. What are the real, tangible benefits for your business? Why does all this technical stuff actually matter? It matters because of numbers like this. A 10-to-1 savings ratio, that isn't some crazy theoretical number. That's a very realistic result for the right kind of data. Just think about that VDI server again. You might have 200 virtual machines, and each one has its own copy of Windows. But guess what? 95% of those operating system files are completely identical. Deduplication sees that, keeps just one copy of those files, and frees up all that wasted space. And here's where it gets even better. This is a huge deal for your backups, especially if you're using a tool like Veeam. Windows Dedup integrates perfectly, which means your Veeam backup repository can suddenly store way more restore points in the exact same amount of space. Upkeep backup storage costs drastically come ho jati hain. Your backup costs can go way, way down. At the end of the day, this is about so much more than just a cost-saving trick. This quote here really nails it. It's about being smarter and more efficient. It means your nightly backups are going to finish way faster because you're moving far less unique data across the wire. It means you can make your current hardware last for years longer. It's about finally shifting from constantly reacting to those low disk space alerts to proactively managing your data's growth. So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. Take a look at your own servers, your own capacity warnings, and think about your IT budget. With a powerful feature that is probably already included in the software you own, just how much could your business save by simply turning on smarter storage? Thanks so much for joining us.